Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the Nikon Iris Awards 2021. It's lovely to see you all here today after our very exciting day of judging and our crazy weather. Hopefully we'll be able to hear you all today. We won't have the rain pelting on the roof and we're having to shout over the amazing weather. This morning we're starting with the nature category. Oh, sorry, can you not hear me? Oh, sorry, the speaker's just not going. I'd like to welcome our audience online as well. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us in spirit. That is awesome. Also to our friends and family overseas, our judges that couldn't be here with us, and our entrants that weren't able to enter. We're thinking of you guys, and we know that you're here in spirit with us as well. So this morning, nature category, we're going to start with the run-through. And we'll let our tech people take that away now. Okay, so judges, if I can have any of your exclusions to go to Rochelle, please. We'd also like to take a little moment just to thank our sponsors. NZIPP are kindly the sponsors of the nature category, and also our overall sponsor, Nikon. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have this fantastic event, and we really appreciate the support that Nikon give us. And once they're here in the trade show, please take the time to go and thank them. Buy lots of gear, spend lots of money. I'm sure they'll really, really appreciate that. Today on your panel, for those that don't know me, I'm Shah Devine. I'm from Christchurch. My beautiful assistant today is Craig Turner-Bullock, also from Christchurch. Our esteemed judges that we have with us today are Mike Langford, Chris Halliwell, Elan Wittenberg, Catherine Katanak, Tony Stewart, Dan McGrath, Glenn Howie, Rachel Smith, and we have Mika Boynton joining us from Australia, and Tony Carter. He's not actually on my list, but we'll take him. Are you meant to be in this category? You're in wedding and camera. do you want to stay? We'll have...
He was on the list that I latest on the list.
He's just not on my list here. So it just means, do we have a login for Tony? That's the thing. Oh, no, you're on my login. So, yeah, welcome, Tony Carter. It is a pleasure, as always, to have you with us. Okay. Elan, we just need your tag, please. Thank you.
Another senior moment.
Okay. I'd also just like to just all avert our eyes to our lovely Suman, who's sitting over here from UCOL. He's our runner today, so if you need anything or have any questions, if you need a tech person, an Honours Council member, or more importantly, coffee, please, Suman will be doing that for us. We also have our lovely UCOL helpers out the back here. Guys, can you just pop out just for a couple of seconds? And girls, people. These guys are working very hard behind the scenes for us, and we really, really appreciate the time that they've taken to travel here from Palmerston North. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get our first panel underway. Craig will be wrangling you judges today. So for our first panel, could we please have?
Okay, we'll have Mike. We'll have Chris. Mike, Chris, Rachel. We'll get Glenn. And we'll get Mika as well, please.
Right, so while you're getting settled, judges, we'll just read the category descriptor for you. The nature category is for non-composite entries, photographs that celebrate the beauty and diversity of nature in the natural world. Includes photographs of the land, sky, cloud formations, weather features, flora, fauna, aquatic life, birds, insects, amphibians, and reptiles. This is not a traditional nature history category, but images must be authentic in content. Entries may be commissioned or self-commissioned. Entries should reflect the diversity of subject matter and be truly representative of the nature world, in a creative yet honest and realistic manner. This is not a category for domestic animals, family pets, farm animals, or cultivated plants. Landscapes without a dominant, identifiable nature subject will be entered into the landscape category. Entrants may not handle or the depicted wildlife or do anything to injure or distress any of the creatures or disturb their natural habitat. Judges are looking for permitted post-production techniques of tonal control, colour correction, black and white conversion, sharpening, cropping, and restrained use of grain, noise reduction, lens correction, vignetting, levelling of horizons, and perspective correction. Okay. So, can we have the first print, please? We don't have anything to put out. Is it not logged on?
Yeah, we need to just get our first option up.
Thank you.
Oh, you can say the description.
So the title of this image is a bar-tailed godwit with pied stilts. judges. Thank you. We have an initial score of 76. Our judging is very even, so that's a bronze award. And could I have a comment for our entrant, please, from Mike Langford?
Yeah, to improve this, I'd quite like to see more union between the three elements. There's a bit of a gap in between that I think would make it more cohesive if those tones connected.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. That's great feedback for the entrant. Next print, please.
The title for this is Welcome Swallow.
Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 78. We have a couple of you in a different scoring range, so if is anyone... Mika, would you like to challenge?
Yeah, I think this is a very beautiful image with gorgeous colour, the cool and warm tones, the inversion with the blue and then the yellow and the blue on top with the welcome swallow typical redness. The detail is gorgeous, and I really love that the photographer has made this into a panorama. That empty space really gives that bird breathing room and gives you the idea that this bird could take off at any moment, even though in the moment it's not quite doing anything that spectacular. I think it's a very peaceful image. It's got beautiful reserve, and I think it's worthy of a silver award. I've given it 82.
Thank you. Thank you, Mika. Fabulous comments. Mike, can we go to you? You're at the other end of the scale
Yeah, I gave
here.
it 73, but your eloquence has given me some insight. Thank you.
Okay, can we also hear from Rachel, please?
Yeah, I gave this one a 79, and I do agree. It is a really, I don't really need convincing. It's really beautiful. And I do really love the way that the tones in the background of the image mirror the tones of the bird's back and chest as well. It's really nicely handled.
Okay, thank you. Mika, right of reply?
Well, it sounds like I've touched on a few things that people agree with, which is wonderful, and I just think if you can find a few points to get this into silver, the photographer would be rewarded in a good way.
Thank you, Mika. Fantastic. Judges, rescore, please. Just goes to show the importance of discussion. Thank you, judges. We now have a final score of 82, silver award. Can I have a blank screen, please, team?
Okay. And so we just want to do a quick judges swap. So Rachel, if you want to swap out, we'll get Catherine to come in, please.
We all set, Catherine? Yep. Good, perfect. Next print, please.
Just 1 second. It's just loading here. Okay, so the title is Shepherd's Purse, Copsella bursa pastoris, and the caption for this is Shepherd's Purse is a small weed which is very commonly found in crops and gardens throughout New Zealand. This particular one was growing in a neglected area of an olive grove.
Thank you, judges. We have an average score of 71. We have very even scoring. If we're happy to accept that score. Thank you. Could we have a comment from Glenn, please?
Yeah, the top lighting on one level worked very well, but we did lose quite a bit of detail, and I searched around those limbs looking for something to rest on visually and just didn't find it.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Right, could we have the next print, please? Just for the benefit of everybody, our scoring ranges today for our images are bronze, which our scoring range is 75 to 79. Our silver range is 80 to 89, 84, sorry. Our silver with distinction is 85 to 89. Our gold is 90 to 94. Our gold with distinction, 95 to that elusive 100.
And the title for this image is Harrier Hawk.
Thank you, judges. And it's very even scoring for this image, and we have a silver at 80. Congratulations to the entrant. And could we have a comment from Catherine, please?
Well done to the photographer. Such a simple image, beautifully composed. The circle is working well. I see a clock face here. I gave this an 83. Beautiful detail. I'm just trying to think what the photographer could do to take it higher. It is lovely. I suppose the simplicity means it's not going further, but it really lovely work.
Great, thank you, Catherine. And next print, please.
And the title for this is Red-billed oxpecker and Cape buffalo. In this symbolic relationship, the oxpeckers eat the disease-carrying ticks and the lice off of the buffalo, and in turn, the buffalo offers safe haven from predators.
Okay, judges, we have a little bit of a split in scoring here. We have an average of 83. We have a couple of you that have seen some things different. Are we having a challenge? Thank you, Mike. Can you tell us your score, please?
I gave this 87. I think it's superior in its communication as a result of its simplicity. It's very, very obvious and simple, but elegant in the way that the horns actually bring your eye back to the subject. And that's such a subtle thing in nature, to actually create something that draws your attention and the symbiotic relationship. So I think what's happening here is we're having something visualized that echoes the story that's been told, and the colour is superb.
Thank you, Mike. Could we hear from Chris, please?
I suppose I tend to agree. The thing that's holding me back on this image is the highlight on the horn, and it keeps on drawing my attention away from the subject on the left-hand side.
Could we
But
also
I'm listening.
Thank you, Chris. Mike, you've also got a bit of support there, so Mika, could we hear from you, please?
Yes, I'm glad I get the opportunity to speak. Thank you. I think this is a delightful image, and I think that the composition is superb. As Mike says, those horns that come back to the bird, but the bird's beak sends it back to the horns. You really see that your eyes move beautifully throughout the image. I think actually it reminds me a bit of a studio portrait, and to get that in nature is so difficult. You only have a moment to do this, and to pull this off in this way with amazing depth of field, beautiful detail, that it's a gorgeous print. I'm on 88, so I'm with you, Mike.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, so Mike, just finish up for us, please.
Yeah, look, I'd like to address the fault that it's got, because I agree it is a fault, and if it wasn't there, I'd be 90.
Thank you. Judges, could we rescore, please? Oh, fantastic talking, judges. We now have a silver distinction at 86. Could we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Hippopotamus amphibious.
Okay, so thank you, judges. We have an average score of 76, which is a bronze award. Was there anyone wanting, are we happy to accept that score? You would like to challenge? Thank you, Catherine.
So I gave this 83 silver, and I would like to see it coming up into the next award level. I think this photographer has captured a fantastic moment here, and there's just so much personality in these creatures with that sort of wild, insane rolling eye of the one on the right. You know, it's right into this. It's well composed. They're sort of surging up in this beautiful triangle out of the centre. I'm not looking for much, but you know, we're in a good solid bronze. But you know, I think a low silver would be great here. It's very sharp, well captured.
Thank you, Catherine. Mika, could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I think it's a great moment. The concerns that I had were that there's an area which has lost all definition in the tooth, which, you know, this time of the day is going to happen very easily. But we've lost all definition there, and some of the blacks, again, there's a little bit of detail lost there. But these are technical issues, and I'm definitely listening to hear about the drama here.
Hey, thank you, Mika. Could we also hear from Glenn Howie, please?
Sure, look, I was up there on 81, and look, it's a classic image. Its black and white treatment works very well. I think they've handled the reasonably harsh light for the middle of the day. Yeah, there's some highlight issues, but it's middle of the day and it's pretty well handled. And the more I look at those eyes and those teeth, I keep being drawn into it. I think this could be a solid silver. Let's give it a crack.
Okay, thank you. And right of reply, Catherine, please.
Nothing more to add. Thank you, Glenn.
Okay, so judges, please rescore. Okay, so we have an average score of 81, a silver award. Thank you, judge. Can we have the next print, please?
The The title for this is Curious Seal. Curious Seal.
Thank you, judges. We have an initial average score of 70. Our scoring range is very, very close, so we're happy to accept that score. Thank you, judges. Could we have a comment, please, for our entrant from Glenn?
Yeah, look, it's a shot we've probably all seen before, which is, so it lacks that X factor. It's well executed, but there needed to be more character within the image.
Okay, that's great feedback. Thank you, Glenn. Could we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Praying Mantis.
Okay, thank you, judges. And we have a silver distinction at 85. And could we hear from Catherine Katanak for a comment for our entrant, please?
I think this is quite a masterful portrait of this praying mantis. The photographer's made an artwork out of this. It's sharp where it needs to be sharp, and then it falls away to beautiful softness.
Let's go, Glenn, and we'll get Tony Carter.
So a nice little bit of banter going on between our judge swapping here. Or violence. All right, judges, thank you. I'll just wait for Tony to log in and we'll be underway. I'd like again to thank our sponsor Nikon for their generous and kind support of the Nikon Awards 2021 and the NZIPP for sponsoring the nature category. Because let's admit, we have one of the most beautiful countries in the world. We good to go, Tony?
Yep, I think so.
Great, thank you. Could we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Kaimanawa Wild Horses. Kaimanawa Wild Horse Band, Stallion at Sunset.
Just to let you know who our panel of judges are, we have Mika Boynton, we have Tony Carter, Catherine Katanak, Elan Wittenberg, and Chris Halliwell. Okay, judges, thank you. We have an initial score of 79. We also have a challenge from Mr. Tony Carter.
Yeah, I'm on 88. I think the power of this image is its quietness, but the title says it all, where the horse is, and it's wild. and it just fits perfectly into the landscape. You can sort of just, your eye just rolls up that hill and just to the rough texture running up that hill, and that texture is also part of the horse as well, so it's fitting into that landscape where it belongs. I find the balance of the hill on the dark hill on the right hand side is balanced beautifully with that light coming through on the left. The image is framed perfectly with the dark sky and the dark base. The only part that I don't really like is a little bit of the grassy stuff in front of the horse, which takes away its shape a wee bit. But I think this is very powerful. It's well printed, well exposed, and an easy silver with distinction.
Thank you, Tony. Could we hear from Catherine, please?
Thank you, Tony. I gave this a 74. I think I was too mean. It is that melding of the horse with the landscape that you're seeing as a strength that did hold me back. I would have liked to see a cleaner silhouette. There is that grass at its chest there and perhaps a bit more leg. You know, I just sort of felt it was a little bit too muddled there. I think it's beautifully printed, well composed. I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I am coming up, not quite sure yet about distinction, but definitely coming up a lot of points.
Okay, Chris, do you have anything to add? You're also up there with these guys.
No, well, I gave it an 82. I think I agree with the comments that have been said.
All right, so Tony, it's back to you.
I think I probably said all I needed to say initially, but yeah, I just think that in this category, how many points do you take off for that grass at the front of the horse? And it's just so well captured and just beautifully serene and wild at the same time.
Okay. Thank you. Judges, please rescore. So well done for the entrant. Thank you, judges. It's an 83 silver. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Bee in Pahutakawa.
For the benefit of our audience at home, the judges have roughly 2 minutes to assess the image before they enter their scores. They hop up from their chairs and look at the print. Okay, judges, so pretty even scoring. We have a bronze at 76. We do have one judge in another scoring range. Are we happy to accept 76? That's the bronze award, 76. Could we have a comment from Mika, please?
What I really liked about this image is that bee seems to be sitting in a honeycomb-like flower, which I'm not familiar with because I'm not from NZ, but it really looks, it gives that impression of it, the bee being at home, and I really like that feeling of cocooning of the bee within the flower. The darkness at the top left is one thing that held me back. So I know how difficult it is to get bees, and I don't know that you could have composed it differently to avoid that, but that's one thing that did hold me back. So excellent shot.
Thank you, Mika. That's fantastic feedback for our entrant. Could we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Tui.
Thank you, judges. We have a bronze at 79, but we have a challenge, I believe, coming from Miss Catherine Kathnick.
I actually scored this a gold. I gave this 92. This is an innovative shot. Well, lots of shots. I feel like the photographer has presented us with a real artwork here in that panoramic crop and the choice of cutting into those two edge images. The colour palette is beautiful, the simplicity of the image is beautiful. There's so many different aspects to this bird. There's a beautiful flow throughout. There's balancing. If you look at the third image and the fifth image, you know, the two birds surging in towards each other. There's a lot of consideration has gone into the layout here. It's just working on a lot of levels. So I'm interested to hear from you guys, but I'd love to see this come a lot higher.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Can we hear from Chris, please?
Yeah, I was at the other spectrum. I scored it a 73. I suppose it was the confusion in the image that I really struggled with. The first bird being cut off, it looks into the second bird, but then the rest sort of look away. It's I suppose the hickwitty-pickwittiness of it that I really struggled with.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Can we also hear from Elon? You're sort of in the middle section there.
I scored this image 77. What takes back here, look, it is a beautiful print, and each one of these oval is spectacular. I think less is more, and here is really the clutter takes away from the impact for me.
Okay, thank you, Elon. Catherine, right of reply?
Disappointing that I'm out on such a limb, so to speak. I don't think this is cluttered. I feel that the control here is really quite beautiful. The flow is beautiful. That bird coming in from the left there, Chris, I think is a wonderful start to this beautiful series. So at least the photographer knows that somebody thought this was a golder.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm sure they will treasure those comments. Judges, please rescore. Well, you talked it up to a silver, so congratulations to you. Could we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Hooper Swan. Hooper Swan lands between a narrow stretch of water and the frozen lake behind.
Right, so we have an initial score of 78. Are we happy to accept that score, judges? We're pretty even with our scoring. Okay, so that's a bronze award at 78. Chris, could we have a comment from you, please?
Yeah, I think the photographer here has captured a brilliant moment. The reflection is really nice. What holds it back for me is the sort of the dark line just above the subject, the separation with the water and the ice.
Thank you, Chris. That's great feedback. Could we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is New Zealand Falcon. Food transfer between two adult New Zealand falcons, male on the left and female on the right.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 84, but we have a very big spread in scoring. Tony Carter, do you want to challenge?
I'm on 93, so this reminds me of a Raymond Ching painting, who's a famous painter who paints still life, wildlife in a studio. So it sort of gives me that well-lit feeling of perfection that is crafted somewhere else, but it's actually in nature. But this, this image is all about what is going on in this picture and how the photographer's captured it. I really like how it sort of doesn't have a natural balance to it, but all the colours and textures of nature is personified in this image. And I mean, look at the detail on that and the transfer. Perfect moment, deserving a nearly perfect score.
Thank you, Tony. That's fantastic comments. Mika, could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I scored this 80. I feel that the moment is fantastic. The catch lights in the eyes are excellent. I just feel that the depth of field is just a little bit too shallow. Some of the textures on the wood would just really pop had it been just that little bit of extra depth of field. They're just a little bit soft, and from a distance you don't notice that at all, but going up close you're not rewarded with that closer viewing. So I'd like to hear what you think about that.
Okay, Ilan?
I scored this image 78. I think the print is exquisite. It's so beautifully printed. The color palette, the detail, the composition. What holds me back is the fact that there's lots of areas that are out of focus, but the main thing is the crop of the tail of the right bird is, I think in my eyes, is I cannot bring it higher with that crop.
Okay. Thank you, Ilan. Tony? Back to you to...
Oh, hang on, Catherine.
Oh, sorry, Catherine, sorry.
Yeah, I gave this a silver distinction. I'm not at all concerned by the crop of that tail there. I feel there's a fantastic, the composition here, you've got that curve of the bird on the left taking you down to the solidity of the bird on the right, and then that wing and then the eye coming back. It just brings you right back in. There's a circularity there. Mika, I'm not concerned either about the softness in the wood. I think if it had been, well, I didn't even think it was soft, but I wouldn't want that to be too crisp because you want the attention to come back to those beautifully lit eyes. Yeah, impressive work.
Thank you, Catherine. And Tony?
Yeah, I do think that what the birds are sitting on, you don't really need to be drawn down to sharp areas down there for me. And in this category, I think you're drawn to all the right areas. The print quality of this is absolutely stunning, and presentation. But just look what we're looking at, and we're just so lucky to be able to stare at this moment. It's not something that you see, and you can just imagine the photographer sitting there forever, waiting for this to happen. The photographer has brought us there, and I think it's worthy of a gold.
Right, thank you, Tony. It's fantastic talking to the print. Could we have our scores in again, please, judges? Thank you, judges. We have a silver distinction at 88. Congratulations to the photographer. Can we have the next print, please?
The title of this is Fiordland Stream Detail. Patterned in a shaded, tannin tinted ponded part of a bush stream. That's a tongue twister.
Well done. That's quite a mouthful.
Yeah. Oh, they're just going to come and move that in a minute.
Sorry, we're just having a little furniture change, just so the judges can get up nice and close to the prince. Thank you, judges.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you. Like you're watching me.
Okay, so thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 81. We do have a bit of a range here in our scoring band. Tony, what's your challenge?
I'm on silver with distinction at 85, so just into the middle there. But I think the abstract nature of this and the depth that it brings, you can sit your eye on the surface of this, and then you can sort of dive on in and have a look underneath. So in nature, I think that's pretty clever, and just having that sharp green element at the bottom there, I think adds to give it a depth and a feeling of what it is. But just all those little bubbles and things, everything's sort of perfectly in its place, and it's just this would look great big on a wall somewhere. It's it's very natural, but very abstract and worthy of a silver with distinction.
Okay, thank you. At the other end of the scale, we've got Elan. Could we hear from you, Elan?
That green element on the right is not sharp, unfortunately, and it's slightly cropped, and it's really distracting.
Okay.
I gave it 75 for that reason only.
Thank you, Elan. Does anyone else have anything to add? Catherine?
I'd just like to commend the photographer too for their choice of paper. The metallic is really cool with this.
Thank you very much. That's great feedback. Tony, then it's now back to you.
I have nothing more to add.
Thank you, Tony. Liking your tonal range in your voice there. Fantastic. Please rescore, judges.
Looking right down the end.
Just waiting for your score, Tony. Put your same score back in. And it stays as an 81. Silver award. Thank you, judges. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Shag.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 79. We do have a bit of a range in judges, so if Elan, you wanting to challenge?
Yes, I give this image 84, taking into account that the branch is really bright and distracting. I think this is a well-executed print. I love the details on the shoulders. There's a lot of... it's really joyful to the eye to see those feathers. and the shag has a catch in its eye, and the composition is exquisite. It's really beautifully executed print in my eyes.
Thank you, Ilan. Mika, you're at the other end of the scale. Could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I scored this 76. The brightness of the light areas does concern me, but also the circular presentation I really like, but I think the photographer should have positioned it slightly lower, as there's a bright bit right at the bottom of the circle and a little to the right that draw my eye to those two bright areas unnecessarily. But I agree, it's a beautifully printed image and well seen and captured.
Anybody else have anything else to add? Okay. So can we go back to you, Ilan, please?
Look, it's on 79. You know what to do.
Couldn't said it better myself, Ilan. Thank you. Could you rescore, please, judges? Well, that didn't work, Ilan. We're sitting... we have to be a little bit more forceful. Judges, we are sitting on 79, so we need to go to an image review. So you need to decide whether you want it at bronze, 79, or 80, silver. And our review score is... We need one more. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're just missing one.
Chris.
Sorry, so it keeps popping in and popping out. Can you pop it back in again, Chris, please?
Don't let him do it.
What you done now? You broke it.
I won't sit you two next to each other next time.
No, it just keeps disappearing.
Can we just hold there for a minute, guys, please? Can I have a tech person, please? Just the score keeps bouncing out of the review box.
Check if the current correct cell is selected. Let's go and scan. Let's try again. They need to refresh it.
So just while we're waiting for our tech support, Mika, could we hear a little bit from you? You're one of our lovely Australian judges. Could you tell us a little bit about you and where you're from and what you like to photograph?
I'm Mika. My name's spelt very strangely, but it's said Mika because it's Dutch. I'm primarily a landscape and aerial photographer, and I really enjoy my nature photography. And I think both Australia and New Zealand have so many unique and exciting flora and fauna, creatures and plants and animals, and also weather for us to photograph. So we're extremely lucky to live in the part of the world that we live in. I don't know what else to say.
Tell them about your fear.
Well done, thank you.
Okay, Catherine wants me to tell you that this year I achieved my master's distinction with the International Federation of Art Photography, FIAP, la Fédération de l'Art Photographique. One of only 5 this year to achieve it, and 2 of us were Aussies, which was very exciting. There were 39 applicants from all over the world, so thank you. And that was with aerial photography.
Thank you, Mika. That's fantastic. What an amazing achievement. That's awesome.
Let's give that one more try now. It should be fine. Yep.
Right. Thank you very much. Yep. Yep. So I already had it. Okay, all right, thank you. Apologies for the delay for the entrant. I bet they're sitting on tender hooks at home. But we're really pleased to announce that the score is 79, a bronze. Can we have a blank screen, please?
Okay, judges, we're just going to do another swap. So Chris will get you off, and Dan, can you come on, please? And Mika will give you a break as well. And Tony Stewart, please. Alan, can we get you off as well, please? And Mike, do you want to come back on as well? Forgot that. That's me. Yep. Eject. It's not intuitive, is it?
Can someone get this one to scroll to bring the line up? We've got 'em
Sorry,
rolled
what's
down,
wrong?
but just to find the line. Isn't the scrolling is
Line 20,
maybe line 20? Thank you.
not the 15 that we thought.
For the benefit of you guys at home, we're just logging in our new judge, Dan McGrath.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the PC. I still can't get it to scroll down to line 20.
Okay. We'll just get some tech support, please, from...
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't dodging it either.
No, okay. Hey.
Easier to work that way.
Is it
Thank you, Chris. Are we all set, Dan?
Yeah, all set.
All set? Okay. Could we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Eurasian Jay.
Right, thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 83, but I think Catherine Cadnack has got something she's very excited to say.
I am indeed. I gave this 92 gold award. This is a wow image for me. Beautifully handled. Such a strong composition with the bird, the curve of the bird sort of surging down into the frame there. The eye is just perfectly placed. It's super sharp. The colour palette is stunning. The inclusion of the snow, it's even got a tiny little bit of snow on its beak. It tells you a lot about this bird and its environment. It's well at home in it. It looks like almost studio lighting in the bird's eye. It's just stunning work. I feel it's exquisite, and I'd like to see it come a lot higher.
Thank you, Catherine. Mike, you're at the other end of the scale. Could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I gave the 74. I actually found the whole image quite bullseyed and very centred, but also the bird's looking out of frame, and what it's looking at, I'm not seeing. I'm finding it really truncated and just cropped a little bit wrong for me. I'd like to see a little bit more space, but keep talking, because what you like, I don't dislike.
Thank you, Mike. You've got some support there, Catherine. Could we hear from Tony Stewart, please?
Look, I'm on, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, 89 silver distinction, and I think I was on the cusp waiting to be convinced. I think for the category that we've got an author here that understands the purpose, which is to show the wildlife in its natural environment doing what it's doing. And I think the moment with this bird, I'm guessing it's an insect in its mouth, the timing of that is exquisite. I think to get that and the sort of the arching of the back mirroring the sort of the shape of that wood, I think there's a moment in time that lasted a fraction of a second, and the photographer's done that. Yet we've got sharpness throughout the feathers. I think there's actually been a really highly technical capture.
Thank you, Tony. Can we also hear from the other Tony Carter, please?
Yeah, I'm on 81 and I'm coming up into gold. I initially felt that it was a tight crop, but then I think the longer you look at it, the more you sort of see the the power of that crop, it sort of gives it a bit more of an abstract nature in some ways, which forces you to really look at the underneath of that bird and the colours that are toned in with the tree. And the darkness at the top of the image, and then that lightness just underneath the bird there on the right. So I think this photographer has handled this very well. It is quite central, but I think it is visually very pleasing, a great capture, and I'm coming up to the early 90s.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Catherine, your last chance to convince everybody else.
Yeah, I think the bird itself is central, but the eye is your focal point, and that's not a bullseye composition in that sense. That beautiful curve of the bird, I find this composition really strong. The fact that it's looking out of the frame, I feel that that strengthens the feeling that this is a moment really captured. This bird, it's got a sense of movement. This bird it's a very fleeting moment, and that bird is going places. Beautifully isolated against that background. It's really quite a work of art.
Thank you. That's fantastic discussion for the entrance reach. I'm grateful for all the debate. Could we have our challenge scores in, please?
Sorry, I'm in dictionary.
You're what? Sorry. You can delete your score
No, I just got to bring up the whole.
and rescore.
What the?
Three-finger swipe, maybe.
Okay, thank you, judges, and thank you for our audience tech support. We're happy to announce that we have a gold at 90. Congratulations to the entrant, fantastic result. Could we have the next score, please? Next print, please. Copy.
And the title for this is Splendid Fairy Wren. Left to right, the male wren changes from its drab eclipse phase, non-breeding plumage, to its brilliant blue breeding plumage in the hope of wooing a mate.
Just a little reminder to the judges, keep their comments succinct and clear, and if not to repeat comments that other judges have made, to make sure that what you're adding is something new, for the benefit of the entrant. Thank you, judges. We have a fantastic result of an 87, which is a silver distinction. Are we happy? Can we have a comment for the entrant, please, from Catherine?
Oh, well done. This photographer has given us an image that educates as well as being really beautiful. It's a fascinating subject matter. Only critique, maybe the bird on the left is just a little too tight to the bottom of the frame there. Beautifully printed, though. Well done.
Thank you, Catherine. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Seals on Rocks.
Thank you, judges. Our scoring is very even at 72. Are we happy to accept that score? Thank you. So could we have a comment from Dan, please?
Right. An interesting subject, but for me the lack of any detail in the subjects is holding this picture back. I can't really say that much more about it. It's interesting. There's almost like an eye forming in the rock that's taking over from the subject matter. So I think we've scored it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. That's great feedback from our entrant. For our entrant. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Shag Feeding.
I'd like to do a little shout out to Nikon for their support and sponsorship of the 2021 Nikon Iris Awards. We look forward to seeing all the Nikon crew when they come here for the trade show, which will be starting on Thursday. So make sure you pop down and say hi to the team and thank them for their support. And also to NZIPP for sponsoring Nature Category 2021. Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 78. We do have a judge out on a bit of a limb here. So, Dan, could we hear from you, please?
Right. This picture encapsulates exactly what a shag is all about. It's about eating. And I particularly feel the emptiness in his eyes is totally, well, I would say he's a satisfied shag at the end of the day. And I really find the picture at the end there, it's got not just satisfied, but it's looking for more.
I'll give you a score.
Thank you, Dan. Could we hear from Catherine Cadnack, please? You're at the other end of the scale.
Totally agree. This is a very satisfying shag. Beautifully printed. I wasn't convinced that we needed all 6 images. There's not a lot of progression between, say, the first 2. And I also felt that the time of day and the lighting has meant that the background, while the bird is isolated against it, is quite cluttered, and the shag's not really standing out like it could have.
Thank you, Catherine. Could we also hear from Tony Carter, please?
Yeah, I'm on 78, and I'm probably with Catherine thinking there's not enough variety for the amount of images there. And yeah, it's just a little bit confusing. Your eye has to really work to get into what the shag's up to with the water behind. And I think that is just multiplied when you've got 6 and leads to a bit of confusion and drags you away from what you should be looking at.
Thank you, Tony. So, Dan, it's back to you.
Oh, I take your comments on board, guys, and really see that. But it's all about eating, and when you're eating and you're a hungry shag, you go for it. And
Fantastic. Thank you, Dan, for those animated comments. Judges, please rescore. So, Dan, you have to put in the same score as...
sorry.
I'm just not... I just have to unlock the system just to...
Thank you.
So you can change your score. You enter the same score that you put in initially.
Just delete.
Delete. Where's delete on this thing? Delete. Oh, thank you.
Nope. Just pop in your initial score. Do you remember what your initial score was?
Same. It has to be the same as
It
the
has to be the same as your initial score.
Oh, really? Oh,
So
God.
deleting it.
Apologies for that. My generosity.
You can't sneak a few extra points in there, Dan. But good on you for trying. That's awesome. So thank you, judges. We have a bronze award at 78. Good solid bronze. Congratulations to the entrant. Could we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Wildebeest. Wildebeest.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 80, but we have a challenge from Tony Carter, please.
Yeah, I'm on 92. What I like about this is just the direct nature. It's bang, central. This is what it is. It's harsh lighting on a harsh subject matter, you know, and that's caused the decay, this heat. It's very voyeuristic, and it's a still life. It's abstract in its nature, and just look at those, look at the legs, look at the horns, look at the skeleton. This is what it is, very direct and hard to criticise. Stunning work.
Thank you, Tony. That's fantastic comments. Could we hear from the other Tony, please? Tony Stewart.
I'm sitting right next to Tony, and I gave it 74. I looked at the shot and was trying to understand it initially. It took me a moment to get what was going on. I was taken back by the placement. I thought it was perhaps without balance. I thought the extra space in the top right, I was confused as to the purpose of that. I was looking at the heavy vignette and the burn on the particularly the bottom corners, left wondering how that was adding to the shot. So I was just left a little bit confused. I thought there was a lovely interplay with the ribs and the light and dark, and I thought that was the strongest part of the image for me.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Could we also hear from Mike, please?
Tony's just said what I was going to say.
Okay, thank you. Right, back. Anyone else have anything to comment? Dan?
One word, I think it's over-sensationalized. It's like a news picture.
Thank you, Dan. Back to you, Tony.
Yeah, Dan, that's the point. That really is the point. It is. It's just smash, hitting you in the face. This is nature at its rawest. The vignetting of it is really adding the power to, and pulling you into the centralness of this. And like I say, it's a still life in a place, a harsh environment. It's harshly treated, so that's very masterful, and it's just very raw, literally. Gold.
Thank you, Tony. Judges, can we rescore, please? Thank you, judges. We have a solid silver at 84. Congratulations, Sheree. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Hunter River. Hunter River.
Yes. No, it hasn't, Tony.
Sorry, I did enter it, but it disappeared again.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 77. We've got a little bit of wriggle room there if anyone wants to talk to the print. Thank you, Catherine. Challenge from you.
So I gave this an 83 silver. This is a really beautiful abstract, very, very well printed, I thought. The dark area at the top left is quite strong, but then I ended up deciding that was really nicely balanced by that dark ribbon of separation down on the bottom right there. Some gorgeous shapes and beautiful composition and flow to it. And yeah, we're nearly there. I think a silver would be lovely.
Thank you, Catherine. Could we hear from Mike? You're at the other end of the scale.
Yeah, I gave the 73. I actually felt it was very competent, but I got a bit disinterested in the blue areas. There's not enough separation between that block, and it just feels a bit flat. Having said that, the top left corner is really contrasty, which keeps dragging my eye up to it. So I'm finding a bit of imbalance in there.
Thank you, Mike. Tony Carter, do you have anything to add? You're sort of in the middle there.
Yeah, I'm on 78 and I'm pretty comfortable there. I just find that top right is just very eye-pulling, and then your eye stays there for quite a while before it flows on down. So that's just a little bit too tight at the top.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Catherine, back to you.
I can only say I disagree. I really like the softness of the forms in the blue, and I think that the striations at the bottom left and the strength of that blue ribbon counter the lack of contrast in the larger bit of blue, so I'm very happy on my silver.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Judges, please rescore. This is the beauty of having 5 members on the panel. We get such a diverse range of comments, which is fantastic for our entrant. Thank you, judges. We have a bronze at 77. Can we have the next print, please? I'd also like to announce that we have Giordano here in the room from UCOL. He's over in our corner over here. So judges, if you need coffee, water, more coffee, tech support, Honours Council, please see our lovely assistant over in the corner there.
The title for this is Vespula species and Apis species. The bee has its hands up in defeat to the wasp attacking it. The wasp is likely to the wasp is well. Oh my goodness! I'll start that again. The bee has its hands up in defeat to the wasp attacking it. The wasp will likely dissect the living bee and take it back to its nest in pieces.
Thank you. Well said.
Eventually.
It's all good. Scores, please, judges. Right, so we have pretty even scoring, judges. You're all obviously seeing the same things, which is fantastic. We have a bronze at 76. And could we have a comment, please, from Catherine Cadnack, please?
Well captured, really interesting subject here, and I think the photographer has nailed the sharpness where it's needed. Beautifully soft background. For me, it could have been potentially strengthened had the photographer moved slightly to the right, which would have isolated the subject against it, get a bit more depth there. I find the detail in that branch on the right, particularly the dark area, a little bit distracting.
Thank you, Catherine. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Mating Tuies.
those at home, you might be wondering why we read captions for the documentary, the nature category, documentaries tomorrow, just so that our judges are aware of what species they're looking at. Sometimes it's very important to know the difference between the animals, the plants, and the native flora and fauna that we have in New Zealand. This helps the judges understand what they're looking at. Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 84, but I think we need to hear from Catherine Katanak.
I gave this a gold on 92. Very impressive shot. Obviously, moment captured. The expressions, the tongues, the sharpness there. The branch coming in front of them is obviously a bit of a distraction, but I feel that the photographers handled that really well. They've actually isolated these birds in a complete tangle of branches and made a very painterly shot where the depth of field is beautifully handled. The background is actually gorgeous. So there's a lot going on here, but I think the mastery and control and the timing is just fantastic. A really memorable shot, and I haven't seen this before.
Thank you, Catherine. I'd like to hear from Mike, please, at the other end of the scale.
I gave the 78, and I absolutely agree with everything you say. But one of the beauties of these birds is the colouring and the depth of saturation. There's a huge amount of stuff in the printing here, and we're talking about a medium, and the medium's not delivering what it should be delivering. And I'm just very disappointed with that. So I can't, unfortunately, go as high as you like, even though everything you say about it is correct.
Thank you, Mike. Dan, you're a little bit up there too. Could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, strong picture, beautifully composed and captured a wonderful moment of nature. I agree with Mike totally that I think the picture up here looks entirely different, and this is much more evocative than that. So I think the photographer has taken a great picture that has been maybe undersold by the printer.
Thank you. So Catherine's back. Oh, sorry, Tony, do you have something you would like to say?
Yep. I scored at 82 for print quality because I wanted to give it a gold. But once it leaves this room, it goes to other places and it'll be seen in a different light. And I think maybe it's just being too critical. And I think I've never seen anything like this. It's just it's like a still life there, and you can just go in and look at every little detail. So I'm not going to let that print quality hold me back from gold. I'm going up there with Catherine.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Catherine?
Thank you, Tony. Agree. Too critical. Too critical. We've all seen the photos that celebrate the beautiful plumage and colours of the tui. We don't need that in every single tui shot. This is not about that. This is about something that we really, Tony hasn't seen it, I haven't seen it. This is really original and masterful and needs a gold.
Thank you, judges. Would you please rescore? Thank you, judges, and we have a gold at 90. Congratulations to our photographer. It was a fantastic debate. Thank you for your comments, judges. We have the next print, please.
And the title for this is Kaimoana Wild Horses. Up close and personal, a heavily pregnant Kaimanawa mare in the beautiful tussock country of the central North Island. Kaimanawa wild horses. Up close and personal, a heavily pregnant Kaimanawa mare in the beautiful tussock country of the central North Island.
Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 80. We have an option for a challenge. Tony Carter, would you like to speak to us, please?
Yeah, I'm on 86. I think the isolated nature of the horse, and just the way it's really earthed to the ground, and everything is sort of drooping down from its head to its tail, and then you've got the grass sort of coming up, and it's eating on it. It's getting its sustenance from that for its foal to be. The way it's cropped, I think, is quite brave, and really pulls you into the areas that you should be. And it's sort of hard to sort of criticise a lot on the image. I actually quite enjoy how it's got the dark left-hand side of the image, because it just gives it a weight and balances with the horse, and it pulls you straight back. So this is very gentle in its nature, and yeah, it's just all those lovely little lines just running through. Nothing's out of place. There's lots of little details that says something about this horse and its environment.
Thank you, Tony. Tony Stewart, you're at the other end of the scale. We'll hear from you, please.
Look, I've gone at 77, and I have to be honest, when I first saw it, it was a little bit, I felt it was basic, but the longer I look at it, I'm seeing more and more, and I think partly because you, Tony, but also the time we have. And the thing that's changing me is if you look at the line of the mane, and you've got this windswept that's going from right to left, push with the belly, and I think it's actually really a strong dynamic, and I think the more you read that, and you mentioned before, Tony, about being anchored to the ground, it's actually stronger and stronger the more we look at it, and I'll be going up.
Thank you, Tony. Can we hear from Catherine, please?
Yeah, Tony Carter, I was only just behind you, and I'm coming up too. I was nearly at silver distinction, definitely going there. I think the crop, it is brave, but also I think the photographer there is really using that crop and the negative space to emphasise the pregnant nature of the horse, which is really, really quite clever.
Thank you, Catherine. And just finally, Tony, anything else you'd like to add? Tony Carter?
Yeah. Hopefully we're there. Really, it is a really quiet image that just needs the time to study, as Tony alluded to. So let's get it up into silvers with distinction.
Thank you, judges. Fantastic comments. Can we have your challenge scores in, please? So we have a silver distinction at 86. Fantastic result for our entrant. Could we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Murmuration. Thousands of starlings and a few sparrows gather at dusk, starting with one single bird lift-off. All follow en masse and fly in coordinated patterns to roost.
Thank you, judges. We have gold at 94, but we have, I think we need to have some chatter around this, please. So, Tony Carter, you've got the highest there, so I'd like to hear from you, please.
Yeah, I'm on 98. I mean, I think, yeah, instincts just as soon as turn around, I mean, which is the cliche I know in here. But yeah, it's just so strong. It's just so poetic in nature. You can almost, feel the breeze. The treatment of this is just so softly handled by the photographer. Print quality superb. You know, that sort of flying in on the left and flying out or whatever. The almost lyrical, musical note features in the centre image, and the one, bird with its flyaway wings. It sort of feels very Japanese or something like that. It's very simple, and in this category, this is, just so well done, and this is as good as it gets, I think. And I'm on 98, and I think that's a little bit low. So I can't change my score, but I believe this is nearly perfection, really. I can't find anything that bothers me about it. The treatment, the delicate nature, you feel the intelligence behind this work. Fine art at its best in the nature category.
Thank you, Tony. Dan, could you tell us your score, and could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I scored this at 77. I know what it's all about. I don't think the little pictures on either side add to the message of the music notes that the birds are making in the centre. I was disappointed by that, but I do appreciate what you're saying, Tony, and I will be considering moving up.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Mike, you have something you'd like to add?
I guess silver gold with distinctions appropriate in that this is innovation in a category that isn't innovative. It's taking this perception and understanding of a species into another realm through the triptych, and I think the triptych's totally valid in this manner, and I think the three together are just so unique and original. All those words are gold.
Thank you, Mike. Could we also hear from Catherine Cadillac, please?
I gave this 97. It's really exciting when you have an image that you just go boom, straight to gold distinction. I have no regrets about being there. We have seen similar images, Dan, to that central one before, and I feel that the images on either side add massive amounts to this. There's sense of story, you've got that surge, the beautiful shape leading you in here. You've got all the chaos of the murmuration, and then you've got the apparent order of all the birds on the line, but then that little hint again of a wee bit of chaos with the one dead in the centre, itching to get going again, and off they go. Gorgeous printing, love the slightly textured paper choice and that long panoramic crop. You look at gold distinction, superior emotional response, high level of originality of thought and concept. I think Tony Carter nailed it when he used the word intelligent. This is really intelligent photography. Fantastic work.
Thank you, Catherine. And just quickly from Tony Stewart, please.
I'm on gold, and I'm only a few points away from distinction. I'll certainly be going there. I think we've got a category picture here that is about the starlings, but it's also about art, and I think for what we're looking to reward, I'm certainly going there to help you out.
Thank you, judges. Could you please rescore?
Right reply.
Oh, sorry, right reply. Sorry, Tony.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the technicalities are there, but I think really you just have to consider how this image makes you feel. And come right up, Dan. Pretty please. Pretty please.
The importance of right of reply. Thank you, judges. We have a goal with distinction at 97. Fantastic for the entrant judges. Just take a moment, have we stand up in a stretch. That was good debate. And can we have a blank screen, please? So judges, if you need a drink of water, have we stretch just for a minute after that one? Thank you.
We'll just do a quick judges swap as well. Yeah, so thank you very much, Tony Carter. We'll switch you out and we'll get Rachel Smith back in. And thanks, Catherine. We'll give you a break too. And we'll get Glenn back in, please. Oh, hang on.
Sorry, I missed that.
This,
Do you want me to sit down?
no, Tony and Catherine. Sorry, Rachel, actually, we might give you a bit longer break. And Mika, do you want to come back in? That comes up weird, doesn't it?
Who was off? Tony was.
This,
The guys will get
this
it for
chap
you.
will get it for you.
I'm still on, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right, I'll just go here.
No, you're right.
Central view.
No, that's all right. Well, I was stretching.
Yeah, so for while our judges are logging in, we have Mika Boynton on our panel. We have Glenn Howie, Tony Stewart, Dan McGrath, and very esteemed Mike Langford down the end there.
Yeah.
Dan to get his water. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Karuru Native Wood Pigeon.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 76. We do have some wriggle room there. Mike, can we hear from you for a challenge, please?
Yeah, I gave this 82. I actually felt that the shape of the background is just so perfect for the way that we always see this bird. You never look down on these birds, you're always looking up. So the viewpoints are fairly normal, but it's the surround and the colour palette behind that takes it into something a little bit more. So just reassess the shape, the framing, and the colour palette.
Tony, thank you, Mike. Tony Stewart, could we hear from you, please? You saw something.
I had 72. I felt it was a little bit literal, and the emphasis on the white breast as opposed to the head was taking away from me. That was my score.
Any other further comments? Okay, so Mike, it's back to you.
Yeah, look, this bird has a huge breast and a very small head, which would probably account for your viewpoint. But I do see the construction of this as being very nest-like. If you look at the whole construct and shape, it's like it's in a big nest, and I love that.
Thank you, Mike. Judges, please rescore.
You didn't say a thing.
Thank you, judges. We have a silver at 80. Congratulations to our photographer. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Falco Nova Zealandae, New Zealand falcon feeding in... Oh, goodness me, I'm terrible with these words. Wakaware Iwa Forest.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 80, but I think we'll hear from Mike Langford for the challenge, please.
I gave this 87. I just feel it's superior in its communication. There are a few abstracts in there that add to it that I'm really surprised that they do, but one of them's the little out of focus bend of the grass in the bottom. Normally that would be a distraction, but somehow it's a support and brings the whole structure of that circle back into itself again. So it's subtle, but it's quite realistic. The lighting in here is absolutely superb. It's almost like it's lit. It's glowing, and there's a realism in there and a sharpness that's absolutely superior to an average silver. Just reassess it. The depth of focus is perfect. In fact, everything's perfect about it.
Thank you, Mike. Could we hear from Mika, please?
Yeah, I like the curve of that out of focus branch as well, but what I am a bit hesitant about is the bright leaves to the left of that that grab my eye, and also the very bright area to the right of and above the bird that really takes my eye away from obviously what the focus of the image is. I find it quite poignant, to be honest, and for that, I want to reward the photographer for capturing this moment sensitively, but I do feel that there are technical concerns that take my eye away from that particular area of interest.
Thank you, Mika. Does anyone else have anything to add? Thank you. Can we go back to Mike, please?
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with you, but I am just silver with distinction. I actually see this very three-dimensional. If you slightly make your eyes into a very narrow depth of focus, that background is very, very out of focus, and you actually feel as if you're in the environment with the bird as opposed to looking at it. You feel like you're there.
Thank you, Mike. Judges, please rescore. Fantastic debate. We have a silver at 83. Congratulations. We have the next print, please.
And the title for this one is New Zealand Bellbird.
For those of you that are at home listening, we are open to the public today. The judging rooms are open all day. If you're in Nelson and you want to come down and see some of New Zealand's photography at its finest, please come down and join us and view all the beautiful images. We also have galleries available too in the foyer. You can see all the prints that have already been awarded. We'd love to see you. Okay, thank you, judges. Very, very even scoring. We have a score of a solid bronze at 78. And could we have a comment from Glenn, please?
I mean, a really solid image. Love that background. The colour relationship is excellent, but there's 3 or 4 flowers that are really close to the camera that have turned into quite ugly blobs, just distracting for what is a great photo.
Thank you. That's great feedback for our entrant. Thank you, Glenn. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Frosty Golden Hour.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 76, but Mika has something that she would like to add. Her challenge, please.
Yeah, I think this is a very common scene, but I think the way that the photographer has captured this is not. The beautiful bokeh circles at the base, really give it that dimensionality. The detail of the spiderweb is gorgeous, and the way it's nestled within those branches is lovely. I really appreciate the way that the light moves from the top right down into the image, and there is that brightness on the bottom left that's a little bit brighter than the rest, but I actually feel that it keeps your eye within the image. The detail of the branches at the base also, there's just, the depth of field is perfect for this, and I just think it's an exquisite piece of art.
Thank you, Mika. Tony Stewart, you saw something different. Could we hear from you, please?
I gave this a 72 professional standard. I thought, for the same sort of reasons, there's a little bit of a fairy tale quality going in with the lower area, a little bit of bokeh and the lovely strands of grass, but I couldn't get past that, what I believe is sort of the lens flare clicking in the bottom left. There's also a stray insect that's very hard to read just above to the right of the cobwebs. I kind of felt a little bit void of central interest other than the actual empty web.
Thank you, Tony. All comments in? Mike, can we hear from you, please?
Just one more thing. I actually find that the central place of the cobweb is a little bit close to the highlight that's almost diluting its power. If the photographer had been slightly higher and put it against a darker background, it would be stronger. And so I'm just feeling slightly out of balance with this composition.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Mika, right of reply.
I actually can't really disagree with the things that you've pointed out. However, I still believe that it's a very beautiful piece of art, and the lighting is gorgeous. And I think if you can find it in your hearts to find a few extra points, I'm sure the photographer would appreciate it. I think it's worthy of it. I'm on 85. I didn't say that.
No.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. Well done, judges. We have another crack at this. We are sitting on 79.
Yeah.
So as in a challenge review situation, we either need to keep it as bronze, 79, or 80 as silver. So Dan, I just need to change your score, please. 79 or 80.
I'll put 82.
Oh, damn. Try to help.
Sorry, Dan, your score has just popped out again. If you're able to pop it back in. Yep, yep.
You put it in there.
Oh, right.
That's it.
Thank you.
I thought you had two.
So we have a bronze at 79. Congratulations to our Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Acer Species. As the sun tracks across the afternoon sky, it filters through the leaves of the maple tree and creates the most gorgeous tones as it changes colour through the season.
Thank you, judges. We have very even scoring. We have a bronze at 75. And could we have a comment from Glenn, please?
The grid of 9 works really well and the colour palette is excellent. I just struggle with a couple of the images not finding a point of focus.
Fantastic. Great comments. Thank you very much. Congratulations to our photographer. Can we have the next, can we have a blank screen, please?
We're just going to do another quick swap. So thank you, Dan. We'll get you to come off. And Rachel Smith, if you could come back in, please. That just comes up too late, doesn't it? Do we just leave it on? Yeah. Okay. Just wait for you.
You right there, Rachel? Next print, please.
The title for this is Gannet.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 78, but I think we'd like to hear from Tony Stewart for the challenge, please.
I've given this an 87 silver distinction, and I think the obvious subject matter here is very clear and easy to read, and I think for the people that haven't seen the print, the eyes and the beak are sharp, and we've got a sense of motion that's coming through with the wingtips and also on the very end of the foliage in the bird's mouth, and I think this is beyond an accident, and I think we need to reward the author for a very clever capture, and I think it's deserving reward that this is something that takes skill or a lot of good luck.
Thank you, Tony. Rachel, could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I scored this one 75. It makes me uncomfortable in the wingtips, and I know that can be actually a really good thing, and I like the motion of it. I don't dislike it, and I do really find that it's sharp where it needs to be sharp in the face and right through to the tail and everything like that. But there's actually there's a feeling of a purpleness in that motion of the wings that it seems not quite right, whether it's a saturation thing or something. It just pulls my attention straight to that and away from the sharp areas.
Thank you. Mika, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm on the 73 for the same reason as Rachel, but also the eye to me seems quite dead. I'm really lacking that energy and that alertness that I would expect, but I think it's a beautiful composition.
Thank you, Mika. Tony Stewart, it's back to you now, right of reply.
Look, this bird is flying. This is going at the rate of knots, and we're talking about an alertness. I think we need to see the fact that we've actually got a skilled capture that is nature and art, and I think it's the art component that we need to be looking at here to give some recognition. I urge you to come up, please.
Thank you, Tony. Judges, please rescore. Thank you, judges. We have a silver at 80. Next print, please. Congratulations.
The title for this is Plains Zebra.
Thank you, judges. Right, we have an average score, initial score of 79. We do have a challenge, please, from Rachel.
Yeah, I give this an 84. I think it's a solid silver image. My reasoning is the lines and the patterns are just so easy to spend time with. I struggled a little bit to find light in the eyes. One of the middle zebra does have a little weeny catch light there, but I find the horizontals in the reflection, and then the diagonal lines and the swirls on their faces, it's so easy to spend time with, and I think it's a good solid silver image.
Thank you, Rachel. Could we hear from Mika? You saw something a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm on 73, but I'm listening because I agree that the patterning is quite exceptional. I really enjoy the patterning, particularly in the water, which I think is a really lovely contrast to the patterns on the faces, and then the different patterning in the manes. I was perhaps a bit harsh.
Could we just hear quickly from Glenn, please? Thank you, Mika.
I was there on 77, and I agree with everything that's been said, but then I just see the print quality, and it really lets it down. It's too heavy, too contrasty. The pattern is exceptional, but then a lot of that is lost by not holding enough detail. It's quite gritty and abrasive when everything else about that photograph should have been smooth and elegant.
Thank you, Glenn. And just a quick comment, Tony Stewart.
I'm with Rachel on 84, and I think it needs to be silver. There's a couple of pictures within this. If you look at the top, you look at the interplay of the bands of the mane, look at then across the row of the eyes, it's actually quite intriguing. And the longer you look at it, there's more in this shot. The photographer has done a great job keeping the depth of field between these animals, and it would have been easy for one of them to drop out, and they haven't done it, so it needs to be silver.
Thank you, Tony. And right of reply, please, Rachel.
Yeah, the print quality is not a big issue for me. I just want this a few points up into the silver range, and I find that what I'm spending so much time looking at all of those patterns and alignment and the clever composition and the really lovely crop that the print quality doesn't come into it at all for me. So silver, please.
Thank you, Rachel. It's a very impassioned plea there. While we have new scores in, please, judges. And well done. We have a silver at 82. Congratulations. For the next print, please.
And the title for this is Yawning Lion, Tanzania.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, judges. We have a score of 82, but Rachel, are you wanting to challenge?
I must have had some good coffee this morning. The mood and the textures in this is just really, really fantastic. It's a wild animal. We can see the power in the jaw and the teeth, and it's such an expressive image, especially considering we can't see any eyes. The eyes are closed in the yawn, and the contrast of the textures, the sharpness of the teeth and the whiskers, and then the beautiful detail in the fur. I think, it's really nicely done. I enjoy the crop, and I really like the treatment in black and white too.
Thank you, Rachel. Glenn, you saw something different. Could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I was there on 78 and actually agree with a lot of what you said. It's the lion's looking fantastic. It's just that background for me. It kind of screams Arana Park rather than in the wild, and that's a fight that I didn't want to have, sadly.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Mika, you're up there with Rachel. Could we hear from you, please?
Yes, I can't help smiling at this photograph. I think this, rather than a yawn, to me it's like the lion is just cracking up at the world, and the joy of it is so evident. And I think in this category it's really hard to find that. So I'm laughing at that. I am a little concerned about the background now that it's been pointed out, but I appreciate everything that Rachel has said.
Thank you, Mika. And Mike, just a quick comment, please.
Yeah, it's an AGM moment, obviously. Films, okay. But more than that, we've been told that it's not in a park, that it's actually in the wild. So I think we have to take that for face value.
Thank you, Mike. Back to you, Rachel. Right of reply.
Yeah, the background's dark, but having never been to Tanzania, I couldn't tell you whether it looks like that or not. Not all lions do live in a sort of desolate and desert environment. They do have, trees and bushes and shrubs, and there's no sharpness in that background, so it's not taking anything away from me from all of the beautiful texture and detail and sharpness in the subject. So yeah, I'm after a silver distinction. It's only a few points.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. All good. Well done. We have a silver with distinction at 85. Congratulations, judges. For the next print, please.
And the title for this is Sunset.
So if you've just joined the live feed, you're in the judging room for the nature category for 2021. We have very even scoring judges there with 72. Are we happy with that? Thank you, judges. Could we have a comment from Glenn, please?
Sure, the sky's fantastic, like what's happening on the horizon. The foreground, however, is a little bit cluttered. Just by changing your physical height, you could have separated those rocks and it would have been a nice stepping stone out into the image.
Thank you, Glenn. It's great feedback for our entrant. We have the next print, please. Oh, sorry, do you want a blank screen? Sorry, blank screen, guys. Sorry, thank you.
And we'll just do a quick swap again. Rachel, thank you very much. And Ilan, back on, please. And Tony, do you want to have a rest? Yeah. Thank you very much. And we will get Chris back on, please. Thanks, Tony.
Okay, what have I done? Oh, 3 fingers. Yeah. I'll use a Mac.
We good to go?
You happy, Chris?
Yep.
Alan?
Great.
Alan? Good.
Thank you, guys. Can we have the next print, please?
Title for this is Okuru Brackish Water on River Sandbank.
Thank you, judges. We have very, very even scoring, so you obviously see the image quite identically. Could we have a bronze at 76? Mika, could we have a comment from you, please, for our entrant?
Yeah, I think this is very well seen. The detail is wonderful. I think that maybe the photographer can play with a different crop. I think the area at the top is perhaps a little bit too overwhelming, and I think that it's detracting from the rest of the beautiful image. So perhaps looking into that might improve the image somewhat.
Thank you. We'll accept that. And next print, please.
And we have a title with more Latin names. So this is a tunnel web spider, Parathele antipodiana. The spider was spotted emerging from thick layers of white cobwebs in an old totara stump. This is a focus stacked image created from 12 photos.
There's a reason why I gave that job to Craig, reading the titles. He might not thank me later at the end of today. Just a reminder to the judges to please announce your score when you are speaking, just so that our entrants and audience at home know what your scoring range is. So we have a silver at 80. And can we have a comment from Glenn, please?
Yeah, look, there's so much good about this photograph. It's bold, it's in your face. I really enjoyed it. There's just quite a bit of distraction with the web on the left side, which is frustrating, but it's a great frame apart from that.
And what was your score, Glenn, as I just asked?
82.
Thank you. Thank you, judges. Solid silver, congratulations. Next print, please.
And the title for this is Snowflakes, Ice Crystals. The structure of snowflakes change when falling with gravity that form plates, prisms, dendrites, columns, needles, compressing in density to snow. Need a bigger font.
Do you want my glasses?
Yes, please, and a magnifying glass. Yeah, it is a bit clearer there, yeah.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 78. We do have an opportunity. Chris, are you okay? Are we happy with the scores, judges? Okay. Thank you, judges. That's a solid bronze at 78. Mika, would you have a comment, please?
Yeah, I think the bottom panel is truly exceptional, and I think actually the two panels above it have brought it down somewhat. I would have loved to have seen that bottom one big. It's truly gorgeous.
Thank you, Mika. That's great feedback. With the next print, please. So just judges, if you're wanting to challenge, just make it quite clear to us, so because we're just the positioning it, so we're a wee bit obstructed, so just so that we can see. Thank you.
And the title for this is Kaimanawa Wild Horses. Kaimanawa Wild Horse Band in the NZDF base, Central Plateau, North Island, mares and foals in a small family band at sunrise. Probably easier to read that. Okay.
As you wish.
Just changing halfway through, yeah.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 80, which is a silver award. Are we happy with that? Thank you, judges. And could we have a comment from Glenn, please, for our entrant?
Look, really enjoyed the colour palette in this image. I love the neutral space above, and it was great to discover that point of focus in there. The fact that the photographers explored so much within the realm of focus is a credit to them. Well done.
Thank you, Glenn. That's fantastic feedback. Next print, please.
The title for this is Mother Magpie Feeding Young.
Just to let you know, our judging panel, we have Elon Wittenberg, Mike Langford, Chris Halliwell, Glenn Howie, and Mika Boynton. Some great comments and feedback for our entrants. Thank you, judges. We have a score of 75. Are we happy with that? Thank you, judges. That's a solid bronze at 75. Mike, could we have a comment from you, please, for our entrant?
Yeah, I think the point of the focus being on the piece of food I find quite brilliant and well done for focusing on that. However, the grasses on the right-hand side are a bit distracting, and if they'd not been there, would have been stronger.
Thank you, Mike. That's great feedback. Can we have the next print, please?
And the title for this is Carved Glacial Snow, West Coast.
Thank you, judges. So we have a score of 82. Are we happy there? It's a silver award at 82. Glenn, can we have a comment from you, please?
Look, there's some great detail in there. It was really lovely to discover that detail as you sort of went in and explored. I would have printed the image a smidgen lighter, and it would have brought out a lot of the turquoise tones in the snow, and the glacier itself would have been lovely to see that.
Thank you, Glenn. That's great feedback for our entrant. Could we have the next print, please?
The title for this is New Zealand Dab Chick.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 79. We do have one judge in a different scoring range. If they're...
Why not?
If you want to talk to
Absolutely.
it, challenge, please, Glenn.
Yes, please. Look, I really frustrated by this because the initial image itself is really fantastic. What a great moment. Placement is spectacular. And I really enjoy that caught moment. It is a decisive moment. Love what's going on. I see its flaws too. I gave it an 83 because of its flaws. Unfortunately, the print really lets it down. It lacks blacks, and it's probably just a smidgen too tight for me. But I keep coming back to that, the impact of those two faces, the relationship between them, and we're very, very close to a silver. So let's talk about it.
Can I hear from Chris, please?
Yeah, I suppose I scored it 77, so close. It was really the flaws that let me down. The printing, the bright spots area above and to the right just keeps on taking my eye and attention away from that connection.
Thank you. Mika, you're up there with Glenn. Can we hear from you, please?
I'm on 79, and I'm holding back because of that contrast issue. I think we are the professional print awards, and this I think that the print has, let the photographer down here. I think it's an incredible moment, and I don't think any of us are doubting that at all. It's if the print quality were improved, it would be clear for all of us. But as it is, it's a little bit challenging to bring it up into that silver range.
Thank you. And right of reply, Glenn, please.
It's funny, we're all very much on the same page. I think the difference is just a scaling thing. I can't argue at all on that print quality. I'm genuinely frustrated by it myself, but I think the nature of the photograph itself is strong enough to drag it up into what I believe is a silver. The moment is strong. It's the sort of photograph we'd all be proud to capture if we were in this environment. The print for me stops it going quite a bit higher. I don't think it stops it from being a silver. Come up with me to silver.
Thank you, Glenn. Judges, please rescore. All right, so we're not going to let this one go, are we? So let's have another crack at it. So we have a challenge situation. We're on 79. So judges, please enter 79 bronze, 80 for silver. Thank you, judges. Oh, no, Elon?
It's
Is it bouncing again? Okay, just 1
I
second.
take full responsibility, but I blame the machine.
Keeps popping back.
That's
I
fine.
think something at your end.
It just seems to be that cell for some reason. So if you just pop your score in now, Elon, you should be fine. Thank you. Thank you, judges. That's fantastic debate. We have a 79 solid bronze. Congratulations to our photographer. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Speargrass, Flowerhead Detail.
Thank you, judges. Pretty even scoring there. We have a score of 71. Could we have a comment? We happy with that? Okay, can we have a comment from Elon, please?
Yeah, I love the color palette. I think what would bring this print higher is maybe a different paper choice and slightly more room to breathe.
Thank you, Elan. That's a great comment for our photographer. Thank you very much. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this one is Shag.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 79. We have an option here for a challenge, or we want to keep it, send it straight to review. Okay, thank you, judges. We're sitting on 79, so we would, if you go to the image for score, please, we're either 79 bronze, 80 silver. So guys, you need to put your scores into the image review,
Oh, sorry.
not the challenge, thank
Okay.
you. I'll just unlock it for you and you can change your scores. Mike, can you delete, and Elan, can you delete yours out of the challenge score?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Certainly, Matt.
So obliging. Thank you, Elan. Fantastic. It's a solid bronze at 79. And could I have a comment from Mike, please, for our entrant?
Well captured, incredibly well seen, and I love the oval because I think it really just it frames it perfectly. So, yeah, just unlucky not to get to the next level.
Thank you, Mike. That's great feedback. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Blue Damselfly, Australenstes collinsinosis. The blue damselfly is endemic to New Zealand. Here it was tentatively exploring its reflection in the glass.
Thank you, judges. We have a silver at 80. Elan, could we have a comment for our entrant, please?
Yeah, this is a brave entry. I acknowledge the photographer for having, the courage and the audacity to enter something like this. It's the eye is beautifully. I'm not sure how to improve this. There's a bit of highlights on the wings, which is obviously taking slightly away, but the reflection and all the composition is, pulls on.
Thank you, Elan. Can we have a, thank you, judges. Can we have a blank screen, please?
We'll just do another judge swap. Thank you very much, Mike, and Glenn as well, thank you. And we'll bring back on Catherine, please, and Tony Carter. Oh, sorry, Rachel Smith. Sorry, Tony. No? Okay. Yeah, Tony. Sorry.
Switch the next print, 'cause the next print's up on the screen.
Yep, I did.
Thank you. Can we have the next print, please?
Sorry, so this is Dew on Grass. An autumn morning during level 4 2020, slowing down and appreciating the gorgeous drops of dew sparkling on the individual blades of grass as the sun rose for the day.
Thank you, judges. With pretty even scoring. We have a bronze at 78. And could we have a comment from Tony Carter, please?
A beautiful sort of abstract nature to this, and colours are divine. Maybe just sort of lacking a real central focus, but beautiful piece of art.
Thank you, Tony. That's awesome feedback. Can we have the next print, please?
Title for this is NZ Fur Seal Feeding on NZ Longfin Eel. NZ Fur Seal feeding on longfin eel in the ocean at Aramoana, Dunedin.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 82. We do have an option here. Does anyone want to take it up? Tony Carter?
Yeah, I'm on 85, so just squeaking it into silver with distinction. I think the icy cold feel of this, and the flow of the head being turned, and the eel sort of wrapping around the bottom, that circular nature. You sort of feel like you're there. The eye contact, and just all those circles, the shine on the skin, and I think it's printed very well, and just something a little bit different and raw and real, and I gave it an 85.
Thank you, Tony. Could we hear from Elan, please?
I gave this print 80. I was slightly distracted by some artifact at the top of the seal. It doesn't look like it's a smooth transition to the water, but I'm listening.
Catherine, could we have a quick comment from you, please?
I gave this 83 silver because of what you've identified there, Elan. But I'm going to come up because I think the rest of the image more than makes up for that. The word that popped into my mind when this came around was mine. You know, there's actually so much personality in that eye, so much wariness, like, don't you dare take that off me. And it's looking right down the barrel of the camera. Composition's beautiful, the crop's working really well. Yeah, silver distinction.
Okay, Tony, right of reply.
Yeah, I don't think I need to add any more. Let's get it up there if we
Okay.
can, please.
Thank you. Judges, please rescore. Well done, judges. We have a silver distinction at 85. Congratulations to our front. Here's the next print, please.
And the title for this is Royal Spoonbill. Spoonbills are shy birds and have a spoon-shaped prehistoric-looking bill used for sensing and foraging in shallow water.
I'm sure you'll agree, having captions on these images, we're learning a lot about our native and natural flora and fauna in New Zealand. Okay, thank you, judges. We have a silver distinction at 85, but we have a challenge from Catherine Cadillac, please.
So I gave this 90 gold. This is a really quirky and brave image that the photographer has completely pulled off. We've got on the left your standard portrait. I'm going to pose for the camera. Well, it's not standard, it's a great portrait. But then we've got all the personality of this bird. So we're seeing two very, very different angles. There's a lot of negative space in that image on the right, and I think it's been successful. As I say, it's brave. There's still a relationship between the images, though, with the bill of the bird on the left pointing you directly to that quirky little head popping up there. There's humour, beautifully printed, great paper choice for this. Such a simple background, simple image, but it's bringing a lot. And we've already gone straight to silver distinction. I think we can do better.
Thank you, Catherine. Chris, could we hear from you, please? Scoring slightly different.
Yeah, I scored at 82, so a solid silver. I suppose I'm listening to go higher. I was a little, I suppose, conflicted between the left-hand side being your standard portrait and the right-hand side just being so comical. And that's what stopped me going higher at this stage, but I am listening.
Mika, would you like to quickly add something?
I think that's the point. I think the photographer's very cleverly shown us the quirkiness of the preferred image on the right, which I think makes everybody smile, but proves to all of us how talented he or she is with that classic pose, beautifully constructed on the left. And I think that, I have to agree with Catherine. The conversation between the two works really well.
Thank you. Mika,
I'm on 88.
88, thank you. And Elan, just very quickly.
I'm going to go to gold.
Thank you, Elan.
I give it 88.
Thank you. Catherine, right of reply. I think you've got some support there.
Thanks, guys. Let's bring it home.
Judges, please rescore. And thank you, judges. We have a gold at 90. Congratulations. Here's the next print, please.
Title for this is Rakaya River.
Thank you, judges. Very, very even scoring. We have a solid bronze at 77. Could I have a comment from Catherine Cadillac, please? No, Mika?
I think the centralised but sway of the curve works really well for this image. I would have liked to have seen more detail in that dark area. I think that's perhaps an area that the photographer might like to improve a little.
Thank you very much for those comments. Can we have the next print, please?
The title for this is Mount Taranaki and Seagull.
Thank you, judges. We have a very even scoring. We have a silver at 81. And could, Mika, could we have a comment from you, please, for our entrant?
I really enjoy the smoothness of this image. It has a real ethereal quality. I feel that the circular mat works really well, but it's just a little bit too tight.
Thank you, that's fantastic. Could we have the next print, please?
The title is Giraffe. A male giraffe rears back from a potentially deadly blow to its fragile neck from a rival male. These duels can end in serious injury and even death.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 82, but we have an option of challenge. Mika?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this, and I actually, when it came up, I thought it was quite amusing and quirky, and then the caption really identified more about the image. I think that the lines of this of the two giraffes are really. They work really well together. The patterning is beautiful. The print quality is excellent. I feel like there's a real moment here, and I've scored it 88. So a silver with distinction. I think it is a very unusual and beautifully printed image, and I think it's worthy of a silver with distinction.
Thank you, Mika. Could we hear from Chris, please?
Yeah, I was at the other end of the scale at 77. I suppose again, when the image came round, you see the interaction between them. I didn't get the roughness or violentness from the caption into the actual image, but I'm listening.
Thank you. Tony Carter. Oh, Elan, sorry.
I gave this image 78. I was looking for more. It is a beautiful print. You can see the whiskers. That's how sharp that is. It's beautifully executed, and the paper choice. I salute the photographer. The right side giraffe looks asleep. So had we not had the explanation, we didn't know. And so I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, but if you have to explain, I think sometimes something is getting lost.
Okay, thank you, Elan. Tony?
Yeah, I'm on 86, and it's an easy sort of distinction for me. The caption, I don't really read too much into that, although it's nice to be educated. But just looking at this, the abstract nature of this, the beautiful print quality, and just the attitude of the giraffe. On the right, with the lazy eye, I enjoy that. But just the balance of this is quite phenomenal. And just the relationship between the structures of it, if you want to call it that, is quite dynamic and interesting, and just something out of the norm, and an easy civil with distinction for me.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Can we have just a quick comment from Catherine, please?
So I gave this 83 and I'm coming up. I didn't get the aggression that is in the caption, but I did get a different story, which was kind of cool. It's like, check me out, you know. And that little one on the right is looking straight at its neck. So there was humour in it for me. I'm now educated as to the giraffe's behaviour. It's such a simple image, very, very well composed use of negative space, really interesting, clean, silver distinction.
Thank you. And right of reply, Mika, please.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. It doesn't matter whether they're fighting or falling asleep. I think that the beauty of the shapes is what is compelling about this image, and I think that it's the detail is fantastic. I don't think I need to say too much more. Come up and join me at 88 or something like that.
Thank you, Mika. You tell them. Please enter your scores, judges. Well done. We have a silver distinction at 86. Congratulations, judges. Can we have a blank screen, please? That concludes today.
No, the prints. So that's the last of the prints.
That's just what I was about to say.
Sorry.
Would you like...
I was just panicking, don't mind me.
So please, if you just remain seated just for a moment, please. We have tea and coffee available for our judges if you'd like to take a 5-minute break while we change the setup for our digital images. I'd like to thank our crew out the back here. Guys, if you can just pop round and just say a quick thank you. Yep. So we have a round of applause for our helpers out the back, please. And we will come back online very shortly.
Grab yourself a cuppa.
Oh, I'm buzzing now.
You're doing well. Yeah, we were just saying that.
It's actually a really strong area, but
Yes. None got my AGM.
I did after.
MGM, sorry. Everyone's just sat there, right? Movie.
Annual general meeting. The Lions get together every year.
You just sort of sit there and you go, oh, that didn't work.
I think it's Asian like some kind of pass emotion.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a shag. Something better than a shag on a rock. That was a nice one, Tony. Good on you. You couldn't help but focus on that press, could you?
That was another spoonful.
You gotta put some.
Oh, yes, sorry. I've got my thing at the back.
Don't be flags.
Guys, there's some muffins and cookies here if anybody feels like anything.
Dragons coming from the sky with fire!
Are you going to say that to me every time you see me?
This is my.
Okay, judges, can we get back into it, please? We'll just take this opportunity for a swap. So can I have on the panel Rachel Smith, Dan, please, Chris, Tony Stewart, and Ilan.
Hey, welcome back to our online audience. We've just had a short break to give the judges a chance to have some refreshments and stretch their legs while we set up for the digital part of our competition today. Iris Awards 2021, kindly sponsored by our lovely friends at Nikon. Nature category sponsored by the NZIPP. Just to refresh our judges' memories, the nature category is for non-composite entries, photographs that celebrate the diversity, beauty of our natural world. This includes photographs of the land, sky, cloud formations, weather features, flora, fauna, aquatic life, birds, insects, amphibians, and reptiles. This is not a traditional nature history category, but images must be authentic in content. Images may be commissioned or self-commissioned. So, without further ado, we will get underway. First image, please.
Title for this is Glowworms Lampridae. Glowworms Lampridae.
benefit of our viewers at home, our entrants are viewing the images on a big screen at the front of the judging panels. Certainly, yeah. Could we have a member of the Honours Council, please, just to help elevate the screen for our benefit of our viewing for our judges, please? Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 76, but we have a challenge from Chris, please.
Yeah, look, I scored this. I actually went up into silver with distinction at 87 for this image. I think what you've got here is sort of like, we've all been in a cave with glowworms, but to actually capture it, you can actually, if you look in there, you can actually see the details of the glowworm actually hanging down. Then you get this tranquil, feel of flowing through the cave. It's exquisitely done, exquisitely captured. There's not too many, photographs around these days of the subject. It deserves, I think, a lot more than a bronze.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Could we go to Tony Stewart, please?
I gave this 73 professional standard, and I agree, Chris, that the glowworms have been captured with purpose, and you're seeing the light and the colour of them, and it's been well done. To me, I scored it as it did because I thought the bottom part of the cave, as a sense of location, was distracting to that, and I would almost like to think if this is the environment that's been lit, there needs to be another element to show an interaction with, I don't know, humans or visitors or something else that doesn't take away from the purpose, which is to show just the glowworms.
Okay, Rachel, you're sitting in the middle there. Could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I gave this a 77. I think it's a solid bronze image. I understand that there is a lot of patience required in photographing glowworms and a nice long exposure. And I think that in this situation, the long exposure has meant that the light and the highlights in the bottom part of the image are blown out, and so that's why I kept it within the bronze range. I don't see it as being good enough to be into the silver distinction.
Thank you, Rachel. Anybody else? We're okay? Right, could we come back to you then for right of reply, please, Chris?
Yeah, look, I get the highlights at the bottom, the bright area, but I think it also adds to that motion of going through and seeing like the cave as it narrows down and goes deeper and deeper into the journey. So, like, I agree it's there, but I think we can see through it and see past it. I think it deserves a bit more than what it's got.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. Thank you, judges. We have a solid bronze at 78. Congratulations. We have the next image, please.
The title for this is White-Faced Storm Petrel, nicknamed the JC bird for its seeming ability to walk on water while feeding on plankton and small fish.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have a score of 79, but we have a challenge from Elan, please.
I scored this image 84. My initial response is, why would you photograph a bird from behind? I want to see the catch in the eye. And there's two out of this triptych that are showing the back. And then I looked at the image more, and I saw those beautiful hues of blue. and the sharpness is so eloquently presented to us. And the story is about that bird walking. I mean, that's already is an amazing feat to show a bird walking in photographs. And we do have a photograph with a profile photo. The whole thing is actually, it's a feast to the eyes.
Thank you, Elan. Tony Stewart, could we hear from you, please? Just
Yep,
for the scoring range.
I've given this a 73, and I think the water is exquisite with the gradation of tone. But to me, that's taken away from the purpose, which is the bird. And I think the danger when you go to a triptych, you need to ask, what are each of these elements adding that the previous frame hasn't? And I think the question that would be asked is that a choice of 3 frames here perhaps hasn't served the purpose of describing this bird. And if you look at the feet, the walking on the right-hand one, I think, I can see that relationship trying to illustrate the walking, but I don't see that in the other one, so I'm a little bit lost as to the purpose of the triptych in describing what we've been told.
Thank you. Can we go back to... Oh, Rachel, do you want a quick comment, please?
Yeah, I scored this 84 as well. To be honest, I would have actually gone higher if there was light on the face of the middle bird. I find the triptych works really nicely to emphasise the walking on water purely because it's showing us the nature, the character of the bird and how it goes about its day. It very seldom actually lands. It just does float and scrape along the surface of the water. And the water for me is absolutely beautiful, as Tony said, but it brings me back to the bird because of the reflections of the legs in the left and the right image. So I've gone 84 silver.
Thank you. So, right of reply, Elan?
Thank you, Rachel. The reason it's a triptych is to tell us a story. And I think the story is here in front of us. We just need to enjoy it. 84.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. Thank you, judges. We have a silver award at 81. Congratulations to our photographer. We'll just hold for a moment, guys. We're just going to elevate the viewing screen for our judges. Just be a few minutes while we reset. Take a minute to thank Nikon again for their sponsorship of our awards, Iris Awards 2021. And we're good to go. Can we have the next image, please?
The title for this is Fur Seals, Arctocephalus fosteri, fur seal on the Chatham Islands. This colony was almost wiped out by sealers just under a century ago.
A warm welcome to our audience actually in here in the judging room. Thank you for taking the time to sit by and support the images and our entrance. So thank you, judges. We have a score of 81, but we have Rachel bouncing on down the end there. Bursting to say something.
Yeah, I actually would have
please.
gone gold with this, except for that one tiny little whisker on the left-hand side. I think that the clever capture of the angle of the seal's heads and the background rock and the way that it just flows through the image is so beautiful. It's lovely and sharp everywhere it should be. The texture and tone and the tranquility and satisfaction and the expressions on the seals is absolutely stunning. I think it's really, really lovely, and I think it deserves a silver distinction.
Thank you, Rachel. Could we hear from Elan, please?
I'm on the other side of the scale at 71. I struggled with the amount of detail. There's loss of detail, so much in the bottom, at the bottom of those seals, where the dark area is nothing there. It's just gray. At the top where the highlights are, there's nothing there. I was looking for a catch in the eye, and then I got distracted with the background. So all these things took me away. I'm listening.
Okay, thank you, Ilan. Can we also hear from Dan McGrath, please? You've got some support for Rachel there.
The image has a wonderful family feel. I've done it again. I love the family feel of this picture and the way it's framed. The one thing I looked at, I thought, well, if it were there to crop out the sea at the top, it would make it more. It would make it stronger. But at the same time, the sea is there to show that it's real and it's out in nature. There's an elegance and strength to these animals, and pride, which comes across. I love it. Strong picture.
Thank you, Dan, for those impassioned comments there. Could we have a reply from Rachel, please?
Yeah, thanks, Dan and Elan. I don't need any detail at all in that lower portion there because I'm spending so much time with those expressions, and I love the triangular shape, the very clever use of crop in the bottom left and right corner, just absolutely perfectly nailed on the corners. It's really, really skillfully done, and I think, yeah, silver distinction all the way.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. So we have a solid silver at 83. Thank you, judges. Congratulations to our entrant.
We tried.
You did very well. You did try hard. It was fantastic. Could we have the next image, please?
The title for this is Wild Seeker.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 84. Ilan is very emphatic down the end there. Could we have a challenge from you, please?
I've scored this image 89 for an amazing composition and such a beautiful relationship between those two animals. Such a beautiful treatment, lots of details everywhere on their body and on the horns, and we have nicely balanced composition with a lot of negative space. Yes, there's some of the grass is a little bit blown away with the highlights. It's just a little bit. That's why I didn't give it gold. I encourage you to look at this and just enjoy the relationship between those two magnificent animals.
Thank you, Ilan. Tony Stewart, could we hear from you, please?
Look, I'm on bronze, and I think to see two seeker stags like this in New Zealand is quite incredible in its own right, because they're probably the most elusive of our deer species. I agree with the fact that it's graphically strong, and you see them there. The highlights was what brought it down for me not to go higher with the printing, particularly in the grasses.
Thank you. And comment from Rachel, please.
Yeah, I'm on 88, so I'm up there in silver distinction. This is, as Tony said, it's a rare moment captured. It's also an absolutely classic portrait in the wild, beautifully posed, but without any interaction other than observation from the photographer, and that is just so absolutely skillful. And I agree about the highlights, which is also why I didn't go into gold, but the more I explore it and the detail in there, and I even see the little bits of grass on the left deer's mouth coming out, they've been caught in a moment of feeding, and they've looked up, and they are completely engaged with the camera. It's a beautiful portrait and silver distinction.
Thank you, Rachel. Right of reply, Elan. Thank you.
Yes, this is middle of summer, so the grass is yellow, and I mean there's not a lot of detail there, and it's against the white sky. I think it's the best you could do in these conditions, and it simply is a very minute detail. That's the only reason I didn't go to gold.
Thank you, judges. Can we please rescore? Thank you, judges. We have a silver distinction, big fist pump from Rachel down there, 86. Just goes to show the importance of a panel and debate. Congratulations to our entrant. That's a fantastic result. Next image, please.
There is, but I have to take a time to understand what it says.
Just give us a second with these big long names.
Rua Coca Patuna Caves. An eerie landscape of caves and shafts of light formed by the Rua Patuna River as it flows through limestone country.
In our judging panel at the moment, we have Tony Stewart, Dan McGrath, Chris Halliwell, Elan Wittenberg, and Rachel Smith. All very experienced photographers. We're valuing the amazing feedback that they're giving our entrants today. Thank you, judges. We have very, very even scoring here with a score of 73. We're happy to accept that score. Could we have a comment, please, from Dan McGrath?
It's an intriguing picture and a lot of fantastic atmosphere going on in this picture. But I think the actual focal point doesn't exist in my eye, and it doesn't pull me into the picture. So I think we've scored it right, and that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. That's great feedback. Could we have our next image, please?
And the title for this is NZ Fur Seal.
What was the title?
NZ Fur Seal.
Right. Just had to make sure.
Thank you, judges. Very, very even scoring again. We have a bronze award at 76. And can we have a comment from Tony Stewart, please?
I think it's a very novel capture for a seal that we haven't seen before, and almost a little bit of an alien-esque quality coming through. So well done for seeing something different.
Thank you, Tony. We have the next image, please.
The title for this is Variable Oyster Catcher. 2 for 1 as this pair scooted across the estuary in their late afternoon spot.
Thank you, judges. We have a bronze award at 78. Very, very even scoring. Congratulations to our photographer. And could we have a comment, please, from Chris?
I think the details in the front subject are quite nice. Good capture of the wing action. What lets it down, from my perspective, is the subject at the back being out of focus.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Judges, we're just going to take a moment while we can't actually do a blank screen, so we're just going to do a judge change.
Okay, so Chris, thank you very much. We'll switch you out and we'll have Mike, please. And Elan, you can have a break. Thank you very much. And we'll bring back in Mika. Thank you, judges. Ready to go?
Thank you. Thank you, judges. Next image, please.
The title for this is Lava Flow and New Grass Life. Pahoehoe type lava flow from the 1800s.
Thank you, judges. Again, very, very consistent scoring. We have a bronze award at 75. Mike, could we have a comment from you, please?
Yeah, just a few distractions in the background. It would have been a bit tighter, could have been stronger.
Thank you for the feedback. That's great for our entrant. Could we have the next image, please?
Title on this one is Immense. No, it's Immerse. We really need a bigger font on these screens.
I did ask, but apparently that's as good as we get.
Right,
so you're doing well.
5-point font size is very small.
It's also in bold too, guys. That's what makes it a wee bit hard to read. Thank you, judges. We have fairly even scoring on 74 for this image. We have Rachel would like to challenge.
Yeah, we're only 1 point away from a bronze. I gave this a 77. I think it's a really beautifully captured contemplative moment, and it's something that we so often overlook, the subtlety of the rain on the water. It's really, really lovely. The black and white treatment is nice. I'm not too distracted by the softness in the bottom left and the little white spots, because the detail in the raindrops and the movement in the water keep my eye busy up there. And I think just one more point would be really rewarding for this photographer for being able to just give us a little bit of time to contemplate. So
Thank you.
Please, bronze.
Thank you, Rachel. Mika, could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I'm down on 73. I hear what you're saying, but I'm actually conflicted because it's quite busy and the contemplative nature of it is counteracted by the busyness. I love the detail of the sharp area. You see each individual raindrop and that's fabulous, but I feel like there's mixed messages coming from this photograph.
Okay, so Rachel, we have some support there from Tony Stewart, so could we hear from you, Tony?
I'm on bronze as well, and I think you're right. I think it deserves a bit more than what we're giving it for the fact that it's the obvious. It's rain. It's this, we're looking for nature sometimes for the wild animals and the most remote locations. This is the stuff that's every day, that's equal to anything else that we see in nature. And sometimes simple is more, and I think the author needs recognition for that.
Thank you, judges. Back to you, Rachel.
Yeah, I think that what Tony said sums it up really nicely. I don't have a problem with the busyness. The rain is omnipresent when it's raining. You don't get just 1 or 2 drops, so it's quite fine for me to just have my eye roving around in there with those little splatters, and I can feel the moisture, and it's really nice, and it's just a little weeny nudge we need to give it, peeps.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. Thank you, judges. We have a bronze at 75. Well done. Congratulations to our photographer. Could we have the next image, please?
And the title on this is Reflection. Tree reflection distorted by a breeze across the water.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 79, but we have a challenge from Mika, please.
I love the abstract quality of this, and I think that probably just about everyone has photographed reflections, but this is something different. The colour palette in this is fabulous. There's so many different colours, so many different pastels. I have no idea what it is that's reflected, but that is part of the enjoyment of it. The delicate lines, it really is like a painting. I really like the delicacy of the lines at the top, and they thread through the centre. You see them throughout. My eye just keeps going around this image and finding more and more to appreciate. I'm up on 84, and I encourage you to revisit and join me.
Thank you, Mika. Could we hear from Tony Stewart, please?
Look, I think I've probably been a bit tough being on a 73. The reason I was sort of left wondering was that I wasn't too sure where I'm supposed to end up, and where I ended up was on that horizontal line you can see in that sort of bottom sort of third, and I kind of felt that was a shame to be left there when there was quite a dynamic sort of colour range and stuff going on. So to me, I just felt a little bit disappointed by that.
Thank you, Tony. Could we hear from maybe Dan? Just a quick comment, please.
As an avid reflection photographer, on reflection, this picture is very strong.
Thank you, Dan. That's sometimes less is more, isn't it? It's a very insightful comment. Thank you. Can we go back to Mika, please?
Yeah, I think the fact that I had
Try
to
to
really
reply.
look for the line that you referred to probably says the most to me about the importance that I place on that horizontal line. I couldn't find it for quite a few seconds. I'm not distracted by that. I can see it, acknowledge it, but I don't feel that it detracts from the enjoyment of all the rest of the wonderful things that are going on. I really hope that you come up and join me in a silver at least.
Thank you, judges. That's great conversation. Could we please rescore? Well done. We have a silver at 82. Congratulations to our photographers. Thank you, judges. Give the next image, please.
The title is Mount Taranaki Volcano. Smoke from the Australian bushfires turn the skies above Mount Taranaki orange.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 78. We have some room. Is everyone happy with that?
Am I able to?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm looking at you.
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay. I gave
Thank
this
you, Mike.
82. I'm really challenged by the conflict, the visual conflict of the top of the mountain almost touching the cloud. And that's what draws me to that point of interest. And the valleys in the foreground just take your eye all the way through to that point. I just think as a construction, as a landscape construction, it's quite superior. It's not just a bronze, it's a silver for me.
Thank you, Mike. Can we go to Rachel, please?
Yeah, I gave this an 85. Sorry, I gave it a 75. My apologies. I actually really, I also really enjoy the balance of the dark top and bottom. That doesn't bother me, and the proximity of the darkness at the top. It is really interesting at that it's almost kissing the cloud. What I struggle with was the grain throughout the image, and that just sort of brought it down a bit for me.
Thank you, Rachel. Comment Tony Stewart, please.
Look, I'll go into bat with you, Mike. I gave it silver as well, and I think we all know the mountain, but I don't think we've ever seen it quite like this. And it's the layering on that foreground that makes the unique perspective. It's almost sort of go back to sort of what my parents had on the wall in the 80s with those sort of successive landscape stuff. But with the colour, I find it really exquisite.
Thank you, Tony. Can we go back to Mike for right of reply, please?
Yeah, look, the grain's part of the character, and I really, the smoke is what we're actually focusing on. That's the point of difference, is the Australians invading New Zealand as usual. I'll leave it there, thanks.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Mike, I think. Could we rescore, please, judges? Thank you, judges. Well done. We have a silver at 81. Congratulations. Well done for our entrant. Could we have the next image, please?
Title is Wandering Albatross, Kaikoura Coast.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 79, but we have someone else in the higher scoring range. Mike?
Yeah, I gave this 84. I just find it's just drama. It's the blacks, the whites, the shapes, the selective focus. It's one of those obvious photographs that I think works really well.
Thank you, Mike. Could we hear from Tony Stewart, please?
I gave it high bronze, and I think you did right, Mike. It's and this bird's screaming, so it's going so fast, and I think it's really easy to underestimate what's actually going on here with the photographer viewing this. So I think there's a lot more skill and technique than what meets the eye. The fact that it's lit from the front as well, we can read it. I think there's the arch of the wings. There's a power there, and I certainly hear what you're saying there, Mike.
Okay, Mike, you have some support from Mika there. So Mika, could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I'm up on 83. What I really like about this image is it's got an almost solarized look to it. And I half expected when I went up to find that it wasn't sharp, simply because of that lighting from the front. And that's really tricky. And the shadow of the face, the way that the skeleton of the wings is bright, and then the background light of the wings. I think this is really cleverly put together, and I think it takes great skill to create an image like this. So yeah, I'm very happy with 83, if not higher.
Okay. Thank you, Mika. Mike, right of reply, please.
Yeah, I think it's that contrast of the bird against the environment that makes it stand out as exceptionally realised.
Thank you, judges. Please rescore. And we have a silver at 83. Thank you, judges. Congratulations to our entrant. And we'll just have one last
judge swap. So thank you very much, Dan. And we'll get Tony Carter back in, please.
Just take a moment while our judge Tony logs in. And we're ready to go. Next image, please.
All right, here's another Latin name for us. This is a blue entoloma, Entoloma hochstafferi. The elusive and vibrant where kokako among the dying autumn leaves. Yes, I can say it again.
Tony, that's me. Are you being honest about that? Or are you just winding us up? Thank you, judges. We have very, very even scoring. We have a score of 74. We're happy to accept that for our entrant. Thank you. And can we have a comment from Mike, please?
Yeah, it's a bit sad that the whole of the mushroom's not sharp. That would have helped. But also the background's equally bright, if not brighter, and that's really distracting.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. That's great feedback. Can we have the next image, please?
And this is New Zealand dotterel. Lazy Sunday afternoon grooming. The bird had a long bath, perched on one leg, and did some grooming before skittering off down the beach.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 77, but Rachel's giving me the eyes down there. So can we have a challenge, please, Rachel?
Yeah, I gave this 84, silver. I find the pose, the way that the photographers captured the pose is just so lovely. I feel all cuddly and I want to snuggle up with them. But on closer look, you're actually rewarded with just a little hint of the tips of the feet coming out from underneath the breast and the wings, the feathers, and that just, it's just so delicate and sweet and incredibly sharp and really, really lovely. And I think it's a nice, easy silver.
Thank you, Rachel. Could we hear from Tony Carter, please?
Yeah, I'm on 74. I'll come up into bronze. I like you. I love the curl of the bird and what's happening, but I sort of feel like this it's more like a camera lens is taking this photograph rather than the photographer. The shallow depth of field with nowhere to go. You know, some lovely texture in the bird and some lovely texture in that little shallow bit that's in focus. But you're left with nowhere to go, and it's very central focused.
Thank you, Tony. Mika, you're in support of Rachel there. Could we hear just a quick comment from you, please?
Yeah, I actually really appreciate the bokeh in the background because it really allows you to spend time looking at the details on the bird. I think it's, yeah, I have to admit, I feel like I want to give this bird a cuddle too. It's really cute. It's I would have possibly gone higher with this were it not for some distracting elements at the edges of the frame and the brightness at the top. But I think despite that, I think this is definitely worthy of a silver.
Thank you, Mika. And then just back to Rachel to wrap up, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm not a cuddly type. I don't usually cuddle birds, but I don't need to go anywhere else. I don't need the depth of field to be any different, and I'm enjoying spending time within that frame. I also would have gone higher, except for those edge details on the left, those little distracting highlights. But the pose and the capture and the sharpness, I think, needs to be rewarded with the silver.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, judges. Please rescore. Well done. We have a silver at 80. Congratulations to our photographer. Thank you, judges. Fabulous feedback and a great result. Can we have the next image, please?
The title for this is Ruokokopatuna River and Waterfalls, a stunning walk through the bush, chasm and river.
Thank you, judges. Very, very consistent scoring. We have a bronze at 76. And could we have a comment from Mike, please?
Yeah, I would have gone further with this had the blurs in the corners not been so overt. They're just distracting.
Thank you, Mike. It's great feedback for our photographer. Could we have the next image, please?
And the title is Willow Trees, Glenorchy.
Thank you, judges. We have a score of 81, but we do have a option to challenge. Yes, Tony Stewart.
Look, I've gone slightly over into silver distinction because I think it's worthy of just looking a bit closer at this. And I think we've got the The willows, they're the dead branches. There's the colour palette that's sort of coming in behind that, which is the moody, the dark, the cool. But you've got this line of the snow that's reflected there. I find that we all know the Wanaka tree. This has gone beyond that to give us something that we haven't seen before, which is the series. And I think it's worth looking at the visual contrast that has punch. And I think if you stand back and look at it up close, it's got the same appeal from both vantage points. So I just ask you to push a little bit harder and see if you can get into silver distinction.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Could we hear from Mika, please? You're sort of sitting in the middle there.
Yeah, I'm on 79. Unfortunately, I have seen this before, so that impacts a little for me. But what I really enjoy is the detail of the reflection. To get the water so still, to have that pristine delicacy of those branches is quite exceptional. The thing that held me back a little is the hotness of the blue at the top and bottom. I really enjoy that subtle blue in the middle, but the top and bottom I feel is a little alienating. But I'm listening.
Thank you, Mika. A comment from Mike, please.
Yeah, I'm happy for this to be a silver, but distinction. There's a few problems of the breaking of the horizon lines of the edges of the trees. Just makes my eye go to those points where the branches actually break both the top and bottom lines, which is distracting, and it makes my eyes go to those points too much. But as I say, I'm happy with a silver.
Thank you, Mike. And then back to you, Tony.
Look, I'm not sure there's much more to add than what we've said, and I think we're actually very similar in our scores already.
Thank you, Tony. Judges, please rescore. So we came up a squidge to an 82, so a solid, nice silver. Great debate, that squidges. Thank you, and congratulations to our entrant. Can we have the next image, please?
Title for this is Buller's Mullymawk on the Kaikoura coast.
Thank you, judges. We have very, very even scoring with an 80. So it's a silver award. Could we please have a comment maybe from Mika?
Yeah, the colours in this are wonderful. I really enjoy the pop of yellow of the beak in comparison to the cool blues. The quality of the water is lovely. I think I understand why the photographer has left room on the right for the bird to fly into, but I actually feel there's a little too much over there.
Okay. Thank you, Mika. Fantastic. It's great feedback for our entrant. And congratulations, guys. We've made it. That is the end of Nature 2021. I'd like to thank our judges for giving up their time and enlightening us with their expertise today. I'm sure our entrants and our audience at home have learned an awful lot today. Thank you also for our audience that have joined us in supporting our judges and our images. Thank you also to the UCOL team for being in behind the scenes and helping us along with what we needed with tech support and getting the prints. That's fantastic. Thank you to the Honours Council too for getting all this wonderful software that makes our job an awful lot easier. Big clap for that. just one request about the font size.
Please.
For us visually challenged. A great big shout out to Nikon, of course, the principal sponsor of the Iris Awards 2021, and to the NZIPP for their sponsorship of this category. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, Craig, for having to manage those big words. We're very, very grateful. Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Thank you to our audience at home.
Judges, generally just quietly shoulder tap, so just try to keep things flowing. So I think we'll shoulder tap everyone. Dan, have you been shoulder tapped? We just organise that. So everyone can go. So judges just hang on. We just have to organise the category finalists. So chill, have a talk.
Lunch?
And judges, could you please come back and get your lanyards too, please?
Lunch?
And it was Dan. Just if you're unsure.
Thank you.
If it's anything like yesterday, you might be better off going down the road.
That's terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah. Catherine, you don't run away wherever you are.
You don't want me, do you?
Okay. You, Tony, Dan, expecters, Glenn, sorry. Love your work. You can only have so many people.
Thank you for letting me sit up here.
Does that feel like?
Yeah.
It's not actually scary, it's just.
Yeah, it did me a lot of good to just sit here. And so that was good. I'll be okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, Kay, I'm doing it with Kay Davis, so if anybody, knows her way around it. Oh, should I dare have a cookie? Oh, so the mating too.
Happy with the taffy, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it says yay finished. I think that's all you want.
Oh, was it? Tony, talk. Tony, it's to me. I scored an 83. This is the late call. No one around. I found one chart for someone else's and it was there.
Yeah, I know.
So annual stuff like that. Like it is. It's just that's how it is. Teachers like that sometimes. And to be honest, even lighting like that. Yeah, it's just. No, that's right. You don't get that much. No. You just deal with it.
Just about end up with some sort of rash or things leaning in to give you a chance in the ear. Just as those spikes aren't any longer.